Coach Jeff Mercer, third baseman Josh Pine, and catcher Jake Stadler. Coach will make an opening statement, and then we will go into questions for both. Please raise your hand, and we will get a mic to you. Coach?
Yeah, you kind of look at that game holistically, and obviously Tennessee is a great team. They're number one for a reason, and the difference really is the free bases on our part, and then we left guys on base offensively. So you just kind of the game is decided in that ways. And in most typical games, this is not an abstract thought by any stretch. So we left guys on base, and obviously on the mound we had too many free bases. And give them credit, they obviously forced the issue and forced our hand in that regard. Didn't expand, didn't chase, and got into good counts and did damage when they got there. But really the difference in the game kind of on both sides of the ball, obviously free bases from the pitching staff, and then offensively, we left too many guys on base.
Questions, we'll start with Ben up front, then go to Carthy.
Coach, just what did you see from Tennessee's offense there in the second and third inning that kind of opened things up? And do you feel like you all handled the environment and the noise well, and I guess the second inning specifically?
Yeah, I don't know that the noise necessarily is the precursor to those things. Connor's a terrific talent and has been wonderful for us, but it's an issue that he's battled throughout the course of the year. That's not the first time that he's had some free bases. And obviously he throws hard. He has really good stuff, but they're accustomed to that. They play with that on a regular basis. So when you're behind in the count, you kind of know a fastball is coming, or you get multiple breaking balls in succession, you have a good chance to hit the ball hard, and they did. So I thought he held his composure fine. I thought he was competitive. He's just he has to continue to develop more skill. He's very talented, but he's newer to pitching and has to continue to develop more skill in that regard. So obviously they're very talented, extremely talented. Hit the ball really hard. Hit the ball consistently to a big part of the field. They would get some balls up to their pull side on off-speed pitches like good hitters do. So, yeah, all the credit to them. Excellent offense. They are who they are for a reason. Connor, it wasn't that he wasn't competitive. I didn't think he was sped up or anything. I think it's just something that he has to continue to battle and get better at. And when you're playing a great team, they make you pay for those mistakes where at times you can be talented and you can overwhelm somebody with stuff and velocity, and you're just not going to do that with a team like this.
Coach, you mentioned the walks that you all gave up. How critical did you feel like that was for Tennessee to be able to put up all those extra runs?
Yeah, anytime that you're running through an offense like that with multiple guys on base consistently, someone's gonna do damage. Solo home runs don't typically win and lose games. It's 3-run homers and 5-run innings. So I think the statistics are, if you have 2 3-run innings, it's like a 90% chance, 8% chance to win the game. If you have a 5-run inning plus, it's like an 80 or 90% chance to win the game. You stack both those together, you're going to have a really good chance to win. So, yeah, the free bases were what did us in from our pitching staff and defensive side, and just giving those guys opportunities to hit with guys on base consistently, and they're going to take advantage of it.
Coach, 6 runs, 11 hits throughout the game. You guys only were out hit by 2 hits in this game. Did you see anything from the offense that you guys can take over for the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, I was really pleased offensively. I didn't think that we got discouraged. I didn't think that we gave any at-bats away. Obviously, their pitching staff is really good, so we were competitive and tough and put balls on play, used the whole field. And so I thought we did a good job overall. And so you have to take that into tomorrow. Obviously, we did a good job hitting. I thought we did a good job hitting fastballs, and so we're going to carry that over into tomorrow, which is really the staple of what we do. And we're a through the line, through the gap kind of team, and we're a lot of doubles, and so you have to carry that over tomorrow and get ready to go. But yeah, offensively, I thought we were fine. We just left too many guys on base. We had opportunities, even with the 12 runs given up, and we left probably 12 guys on base throughout the game. And had opportunities with less than 2 outs multiple times to score a few more and make it more interesting. But we did make him go into the bullpen. We made him use guys I'm sure they didn't necessarily want to use when you're up 12 to whatever early in the game. So that was a really good job by our offense. I thought the position players stayed steadfast and competitive and kept going. And then Tyler Barczyk was excellent there down the stretch there. The last 3 or 4 innings, he was excellent as well.
Looking back to the Big Ten tournament and then the regional last year, you guys started off 2-0. Now having to come through the losers bracket, what's different about that, and what do you feel like your team has to change and approach-wise?
I mean, we're in a good spot on the mound. Obviously for the first game tomorrow, And so you have to keep those things in perspective. You just have to show up and play the first game first. And I think offensively we'll be fine. We'll show up and compete whether we are successful or not. I don't worry about the group being ready to go on a short turnaround. It's a mature group that's been through the battles, been through the paces of these things. But obviously you're in do or die mode now, and so you have to show up and compete. And then we need to offensively be able to try to give us a little bit of space and length and try to be conservative with arms if we can. And that's with all due respect to our opponent tomorrow. But since you're asking about what do you have to do to be able to play through this, the rest of this tournament. So we have to worry about tomorrow's morning first. And then offensively, we're going to have to be good, we're going to be excellent, and try to give us a little bit of length here to try to be creative with our arms.
2 questions on row 2.
Coach, the bats were pretty quiet in the first couple of innings until Jake had a 7-pitch double, and then Colopy had an 8-pitch walk.
Yeah.
Those are 2 guys who, even couple weeks ago, wouldn't have been expected to be in as big roles. Jake probably wasn't expected to catch every day, and Colopy has been taking this opportunity with some injuries.
Yeah.
How big is it to have that veteran leadership
Yeah.
in these situations where maybe it wouldn't have been expected?
Yeah. Kudos to Jake. He's been terrific. I got back to the hotel room last night, and my wife was talking about Jake, just about that. Imagine showing up every day and catching for 2 months every single day and doing a great job with that, and the competitive, the spirit that it takes to show up every day and do that and be a really good offensive player along the way. And he did. He kind of broke the seal for us there. Got the first hit and opened it up. Morgan had a great at bat. He's been really good the last couple of days. I think it shows a couple of things. One is you have high character young men and great families, and those guys show up and work every day and they're tough. But I also think it shows the importance of the depth of your recruiting, to make sure that you're recruiting guys that 1 through 40 on your roster can all compete at a high level. And then you have to coach every player every day, because you just don't know who's going to be in the lineup the first game, the 30th game, or the 60th game. That just changes so much. Injuries are a part of every sport that you play. And so it's important that you show up and coach every single player as if they were going to be a starter for you. And I'm proud of the fact that we have done that. And those guys have developed. And so it's kind of next man up. Guys step in and play. Wiggins steps in there today. He comes in and bangs 2 base hits. TJ takes a big walk. Obviously, Jake's had a great run here. And Morgan stepped in the last 2 weeks and played really, really well in lieu of those injuries. So I'm very proud of those kids. And I'm also proud of the way those guys have been coached to be able to be not just go in and play, but to play well. I think that's a statement on them and the assistant coaches for coaching so well.
Staying on row 2.
Jeff, just over the course of the season, you've had to Connor's had to kind of deal with some struggles with the walks and such.
Mm-hmm.
Just like big picture, like how have you kind of dealt with it, like in season, and trying to improve that, and especially coming into a stage like this with that?
Yeah, I think keeping in perspective, kind of as you said, keeping in perspective that Connor is still very new to pitching, especially as a starter. Wasn't a primary baseball player in high school, and was a closer last year. And I talked to him about it before the season started, because he is very talented. That everybody wants him, not you, not anybody in this room, but people want him to be a finished product at a young age, at a relatively inexperienced point in his career. And that's not necessarily realistic. And to develop, it takes time. I know a heck of a lot more at 38 than I did at 28, and a lot more than I knew at 18. Although at 18, I probably thought I knew a lot. And so you learn and you grow. And so the skill set comes to a player as he gets in the environment time and time again. He missed a month there with some back stuff that he was going through. So again, he missed another probably 15, 20 innings, 30 innings maybe there in the middle of the season. So again, he's just behind in some of the skill set acquisition, but he'll be fine. We've talked about it a lot. We talked today before the game about just managing your emotions and competing to each pitch. And that sounds cliche until you're out there in front of 10,000 people. And then it becomes a lot more realistic for all of us if we were in that moment. And just attacking each pitch, trying to execute each pitch to the best of your ability. And when the game's over, and God willing, the sun's going to come up tomorrow, one way or the other. I asked him. I said, "What are the two options for this game today?" He said, "We're going to win or we're going to lose." I said, "That's right. We're going to win or we're going to lose. But your mom and dad are going to love you either way, and your teammates are going to love you either way, and hopefully your girlfriend does too." So it'll all be okay. Let's just go do the best that we can today, and let's be as tough as we can. I thought he did that. You know, he wasn't good enough today. That happens. That's happened for everybody in this room. That's happened to me plenty of times. I still remember my sophomore year. I was 0 for 8 with 7 strikeouts and an 0-2 count. I had a ground ball to the second baseman, and I fist pumped as I ran to first base for not having 8 strikeouts, and then I dropped the ball at first base to have the game-losing error. So Connor's day was a hell of a lot better than my day. So those things happen. He's a great kid. He's a great player. He just got to keep working at it. But we've talked about those things throughout the course of the year. Coach Glantz worked really hard with him, learning his secondary pitches, executing those pitches, having a repeatable delivery to command his fastball. Obviously, he's got a really good one. He's just got to command it better. But he will. He'll get there, and he's going to be a great player. And he's got a very bright future, but he'll be great.
For Josh and Jake, you guys have battled a lot of adversity just to get to this point. Now you're going to come out of the losers bracket. How do you battle that adversity?
I think we just keep competing. You know, it wasn't easy to make it in the tournament. And we made a run in the Big Ten tournament and found a way in. And so it's just showing up and competing every single day and just playing for your brothers that are with you.
Yeah, to add on that, I think it's just the mentality that we kind of thought there was a little bit of a chance that we would get in the tournament. We weren't really completely 100% sure. We kind of said our goodbyes. Everybody cried and held each other, and that was like an emotional experience. And now I think it's just like we're playing freely and we're playing for each other, and we're playing one game at a time just to keep playing more baseball with our brothers, because we're never going to get this team back, whether like one way or another. Some people are going to leave, some people are coming back, but we're not going to play with the same team ever again. And so I think that mentality of just playing for your brothers, playing for your boys, and just one more game, just playing one more game, and just kind of just living on that, I think can take us a long way.
You've already faced Southern Miss once, and obviously you hit their ace pretty hard. Now being deeper into their rotation, does that give you an advantage having already seen them and been successful against what is probably a stronger arm than you'll see tomorrow?
Sure, I think it can go both ways. You know, they've seen your hitters, and so they have an ability to match up. Their shifts, I'm sure, will be better, and they'll adjust on their defensive shift. So it does help us to be able to know an opponent a little bit, but they also know you. So I don't know. Obviously, I don't know who they're going to throw tomorrow, and Coach Weatherford does our scouting reports for the opposing pitchers, but I'm sure he'll be excellent. You don't win as many games as they've won and be ranked and get this position without having depth on the mound. So I'm sure he'll be excellent, and we'll go out and have a good game plan and compete like crazy. But yeah, it does help, but it helps them too. That there's an equity in that also.
Any other questions? All right.
Awesome. Thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you.